Hi, everyone. Good evening. You're welcome to Let's Discuss, where we talk about practical matters that impact on our life and Christian journey. The aim of Let's Discuss is to add value in terms of our Christian journey to make us more ready for heaven. The aim of Let's Discuss is not to serve as a point of preaching, but as a place where we can have proper conversation about proper matters that impact on us. So you're all welcome. Feel free to like, share, and more importantly, participate in the conversation of today. And as you participate, God will bless you in Jesus' name. Today, we're talking about when life gets tough. When life gets tough. um I don't know what you do when there's situations where we are in where it just seems heavy, even worship feels heavy, where it seems our prayers are hitting the ceiling and everything's happening for a reason, but it doesn't bring the comfort that we're used to having. We're talking about when life is getting really tough, and it's not the kind of tough that a few Bible verses can fix. I mean, the deep, soul stretching challenges that would, make you question everything you thought you knew about faith, about God, about life, about everything you know. And today, whether you're in that season or walking alongside someone who's in that season, today's conversation is about finding the strength in order to move on when our own strength isn't enough anymore. I don't know if anyone has been in that situation whereby we just discover our strength is not enough. We've tried everything, we know all the scriptures, but we've prayed, but it's just not getting us through. It's not solving the problem. Today is about that issue, and please feel free to contribute. I believe this is a safe space where we can have conversations, and if you're not comfortable, just reach out to us offline and we can have those conversations. I don't know, one of the things I find very interesting is that some of the most powerful worship songs were written in the darkest seasons of different people. For example, David wrote some of his psalms when he was running for his dear life. Paul and Silas were singing until in the midnight in prison until they get released, and we know some of the popular hymns like when peace, it is well with my soul. We know the stories behind that and many other things that are happening. At times, the most beautiful songs or powerful songs have been written in that period where life just seems to be so tough that there is no easy answer. There isn't any surface solution to apply to the particular matter on hand, and everything seems to be falling apart. But I want to encourage us as we begin to go into today's topic that I believe fundamentally, and this isn't motivational speaking, it's based on seeing a lot of situations like this, seeing a lot of people go through challenges, a lot of Christians, and even in my own personal life. If we have time at the end, I'll share some of my own personal stories as well, just to buttress that at times life can get very difficult. It can take away all the answers, take away everything you seem to believe and know. It puts you in a position where you are unable to face a lot of things. But today we'll talk about it. There are three things we'll talk about, and there's a bonus fourth that, by the grace of God, will strengthen. And I would give a few examples, hopefully, to give us some testimonies in order to operate and give us the energy to move on. I just want to encourage you that, and this is not motivational speaking, that your toughest season might just be preparing you for your strongest testimony. I believe that. And please come and let us talk about this. matter. And God will help us in Jesus' name. Welcome, everyone. For those who are joining for the first time as well, feel free to like, share, subscribe, and more importantly, participate. Life is like an ocean, a vast ocean. On some days, the waters look calm, the horizon is clear, you see everything looking blue or green, depending on the part of the world you're in. And you are thinking, oh, wow, this is good. We like this. But there's a storm that will just hit suddenly without warning. And if you are on a boat driving, the question is that storm will test your ability. It will test your boat. It will test the strength of your boat. It will test your ability to navigate through the storm. It will test whether the storms are stronger than you. And that is what happens when we're talking about when life gets tough. And the real question we need to ask ourselves is not whether storms will come or not. Storms will come. Storms will come. Challenges would happen because that's how God has even created things. But the real question is not whether they will come. The real question is how prepared are you to face them? And that's the big challenge. It's about how prepared you are to face the storm. And we'll be exploring three key elements today on this topic. And the first one will be how prepared are you, which is your preparation. The second point will be around supporting others, and we will talk about some recovery strategies. And hopefully, I pray that we'll all get a lot of benefit from this. I want to start with a story because there's something about a story that helps drive home a key point. The story I am about to talk to us about is a story that some of us may know, some of us may not know. Because life storms are inevitable, but our survival is not inevitable if we don't prepare or take action when the storm hits. Let's start with this story. I know a few people will say, well, this is not a Bible story, but we do talk about Bible stories, but I want us to look at a real life story that happened in order to bring this to context. Many years ago, there was I think in the 1274, there was a ruler of the Mongol Empire. For those historians or people who follow history, the Mongol Empire were the ones in charge of the world then. A lot of us would have heard of Khan. So Khan, Genghis Khan, he was pretty much the ruler of the world at that time. He had a lot of influence, a lot of soldiers. So in 1274, his grandson, I believe, Kublai Khan, he sent a massive navy invasion against Japan. According to the history books, they said he had about 20,000, soldiers and about 900 ships. And his plan was to defeat all the Japanese samurai with the superior numbers and the techniques they had. That was the plan. The plan was that with 20,000 soldiers and 900 ships, he will be able to quickly defeat the Japanese and take over, their territory. Because the Japanese then were used to things like the samurai, they were using swords, and the Mongols had advanced. They had ships, they had different things at that point in time. So that was his strategy: 20,000 soldiers, 900 ships. And they landed to really do that. But what happened was what I think it's in history books, the Japanese called it, is it kamikaze? What they did was that the Japanese soldiers did not say, oh, this has come upon us, these people will defeat us. Together, they came together and attacked the Mongols whilst they were docking. Whilst they were docking, they attacked, but it wasn't the attack that really happened or saved the day. There was a big wind that blew around that time. There was a big storm that happened coincidentally around that period. And when that storm happened, the history book said about one third of the of the troops, of the Mongol troops, were killed or drowned when that happened. But the guy now learned from his lesson. Kublai, he learned from his lesson. He said, okay, this is a freak of nature. What's happened is that we've sent these 20,000 troops, and if about 9,000 of them died the first attempt, I'm going to go in with more reinforcements 7 years later. So 7 years later, Kublai, he said, no way, I'm not going to lose this war. And in 1281, he went with a larger force. You remember I said he went with 20,000 initially. The second time in 1281, he went, according to the history books, he went with 140,000 men aboard over 4,000, about 4,500, 5,000 ships. And the Japanese, they braced that, okay, this is the end. They braced that, okay, this is the end of things. And, what happened as well was that there was now another storm for 2 days. The waves and the wind attacked the Mongol fleet again. You remember they came with 20,000 initially. Now they came with 140,000 and over 4,000 ships. And just a fraction of them remained. Which means that whilst the Mongols had the advantage and the resources and the manpower and momentum, they couldn't survive that storm. When a storm hits, it's not about the resources at times that you have. It's about your preparedness. They faced it with 20,000 soldiers. It was a strange storm that happened the first time. Some say it's the hand of God that doesn't, for some reason. And the second time they went, you would have thought they should have prepared better for the storm at that stage, but they didn't. And what happened was that they faced the same thing. And in the history books, it recorded that they were unable to defeat the Japanese because of those two losses. So at that point, they too just felt to themselves, look, let's not waste our time and resources on this battle. It's not worth it. So, but what's the point of this? The point of this is to tell us that our preparation matters more than the storm. Our ability to prepare for a storm that has not come. So some people say, but that isn't faith, sir. That isn't faith. That you need faith in order to be able to do a lot of things. Why are you talking about storm when you should be applying faith? From this example, we can see that when something hits you or something, there's a possibility of it hitting you, your ability to prepare. Jesus himself said, who will build a house and not first consider the cost of building it, lest he's unable to finish? Those people had the advantages and the resources, but they were unable to win because they didn't have the preparation in order to operate with the storm. So the first thing we need to consider as Christians is we need to prepare for storms. Our ability to put in place preparation. I'll give a few specific instances of how do you prepare for a storm that has not come. And it's not lack of faith, it's just wisdom in being ready to, do the things that has come. So the first thing is that you prepare like a storm is coming, or if you don't survive, you would regret that you didn't prepare. The first thing we need to do is always prepare for the storm, always prepare that something is coming, always prepare that for that day that things might not work out well. And when you do that, you now become, you are in a place where you are more comfortable. You may not be able to predict the storm, but you are in a better place. So for example, they talk about finances, that no matter how much you are having challenges, always make sure you have a small amount of money for absolute emergencies. That's a preparation for a storm. That no matter how much things are happening, always keep some food in the house. So there are a few stories whereby some people spoke about the fact that there was now a storm. There was even things like COVID. When it happened, people who didn't have resources were now disadvantaged compared to people who had some resources in the house. We need to ensure that a lot of the things we do, we remain prepared, because when a storm strikes, we might be unable to respond. So let me take a few comments before we go into the second part, second phase of this. I just want to take a few comments. Sorry, everyone that had not taken it before. Okay, Yosin, thank you. She said, I think I need to hear this. We have Steve, thank you so much. He said, good evening, everyone. We have, Felu Agosu, thank you so much. And we have Pastor Nike as well. So thank you for listening. The storm, one of the things about it is that a lot of people say you need to have faith, and I agree. I'm a man of faith, but if you're not ready to face a storm, you just discover that you are not prepared for it. um you know pre- Personal preparation is not just about having supplies, it's about having the mental and emotional readiness to respond when life hits hard. Life will hit hard at some point. We pray that by grace of God, it's not hard that we cannot bear, but there will be some unexpected twists and turns on the journey. And our ability to be mentally and emotionally ready will get us through it. You know, but what happens when you're about to face a storm and there is nothing in your pocket except hope? uh, you know, if you don't have a plan in place, and that's the second point that we will talk about, where we've talked about having a plan, having everything ready, but let's say you don't have it. Let's say you've not prepared. That's where the second thing comes in play, and that second thing is a thing that's been attacked by the enemy, attacked by different people, because we don't really understand the purpose of what that second thing does. And the second thing is more about a strong community. A strong community. So strong communities are not built on resources. It's more around the relationship and support systems that allow people to recover together. A community is where, even though you are weak, you will find people who can support you. I'm not saying communities don't come without its challenges, but when you're stretched thin and you don't know what to do, you don't have anything else to give, how can you still show up? Where you can show up is a community. No wonder communities are being attacked. You Many times when you talk about people, why don't you go to church? It's about the community being toxic. Why don't you do this? Why don't you trust your brother? It's about a lot of bad examples, a lot of things that's happened that has demotivated everyone, that has made us feel, that it's not worth investing in this. So I'm not saying a community wouldn't have its challenges, but when the storms hit and you are not prepared, the next place you can get help is if you're part of a strong community. Most times people want to do life alone, and I agree, you have to be independent, you have to do things to the best of your ability. But please and please look for a strong community to be part of. A strong community might not be your church. Sorry to say that. A few people would say, no, my church, when things happen, they will be there for me. In my experience, I've found that, and from experiences of a lot of people, some churches are strong communities and others are not. Don't look at the resources available. Don't look at what is the way everything looks. Don't make assumptions. Make sure you understand what communities you have. And one way of understanding it is, if you're not contributing to a community, don't expect to get out anything out of that community. A lot of people want to belong to a community, not invest anything, like Ananias and Sapphira. Let's just put something small here. But for you to benefit from a strong community, you have to invest in that community. You have to be able to have something to show. Does that mean it is guaranteed that you will get back what you've invested? No. But is it a better strategy than having no strategy? Yes. Um, when a community thrives, everybody does not just survive, everybody can thrive, because recovery becomes more than possible. It becomes inevitable. I've been in a community once where when things happen, you see people encouraging you. When you need help, when you need advice, when you need a push, you see people there. And I've been in a community where everybody just wants to take, nobody wants to give. Everybody just thinks everything has to be about them. Everybody just wants to get the benefits, but without any investment in that community. Community doesn't mean you have to put in money. It's about the time. And also, there are some communities that look good on paper. They will talk good. But when you test them, you discover that you get nothing out of those communities because they've been structured to benefit a particular set of people. I can spend a lot of time on community. If there's more questions, we'll take it and talk a bit more about how to identify a strong community that would help you to navigate when the storms hit, when the challenges come. You need people. There was someone who was going through a particular challenge. He thought it was the end of the world. And when he reached out to his community, one of the person in the community had gone through the same challenge and said, no, 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 this and this and this are the things you have to do. And he did it. No, he not only recovered, but he thrived. So community is very important. If you are not part of a strong community, notice the use of strong that you are contributing to. You need to revise that approach. So recovery is a journey that starts with action, but fueled by the support of others. So we've talked about your personal preparation, which is the best, but if you are not prepared or you cannot absorb or withstand the challenge, the next thing is a strong community. But if the recovery is not just about bouncing back, or if it's more about moving forward in a way, or if the community now lets you down, we will now move to the third phase. And I'll take a few questions before that, because the third one is a strategy most people overlook, but is exactly what we need to talk about next. The third one is something that needs to be part of our toolbox for every single person. Because when the storms come, you need to be able to defend yourself. If that doesn't work, your strong communities. But if your strong communities disappoint you or lets you down, what is the third thing? It's not commonly talked about, but we'll talk about it next. Let me just take a few questions so that we have any questions and contributions. Oh, thank you, Ma. So I have my mom, a mentor. She said, Pastor Kupoli said, when you see the storm coming, you have to prepare for it before it strikes. I agree. And we have Yayonda. God bless you. And she said, and the storm will definitely strike. There's always a dark lining in the blue skies. I agree with that. I agree with that. And like I said, we can pray for God to help us with the storms, but we need to be prepared. Um, Even the Bible talks about the foundation being very important. There's this story we all, I'm sure, we read in secondary school about the three pigs and the fox, that the first pig built his house with straw, second one built his house with sticks, and the third one built his house with bricks. And when the wolf came, he broke through the first one easily, second one a bit harder, but third one he wasn't able to, and that's because of the foundation. Pastor Kupuli also says sometimes the storm does not give notice and it can take you by surprise. We've spoken a bit about this in a few sessions I've been in, that, and a very wise man of God told me, this someone has served God, has experienced a lot of miracles, he has experienced a lot of prosperity, that at a very young age, God has answered him. He was traveling all over the world. He was doing great, mighty things for God. But he told me one day, he said that the things that will shake you the most are those storms that don't give notice, those storms you were not expecting. It could be something that just lands without you being prepared for it. It's something that you didn't foresee and it just happened. He said that those are the things that will shake you the most. The things you are prepared for, the things you're thinking about, when it happens, you will be challenged. But the things that you've not even imagined that just come suddenly and you have to handle it, those will be the true test of your character. Those will be the true test of your faith. And that's so true. We can't avoid it. Storms would always come, but our preparation would make the way for us. Oh, thank you. We have Evangelist here. A lot of people know him. He's a friend to the house, and they're doing a program very soon, which we will publicize, trying to get about 100 pastors and educate and equip them. He said, you don't need to see storms coming before you prepare. As long as you're among the living, you should know the storms of life is a package that comes to the living. Build capacity to be able to withstand the day of adversity. The Bible says, if you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. Living without making plans for whatever life may bring is a dangerous way of living. You will end up hating those who should not. Thank you so much. So that's a very valid plan. He said, okay, so he said, there's a question here that what if plans don't work out, sir? And I'll address that under the third one. That if you've made your preparation, because at times you don't know the storm that will hit, how do you ensure that you're properly covered when plans don't work out, when the communities don't work out? Okay, we have a few more contributions I'll just go through. So Apostle Sam said, your faith affiliation does not exempt you from the storms of life. It comes to everyone. Those who survive it make it into the history book. Those who blame the storm are simply displaying their weaknesses. I agree. I agree with this. This is so powerful. No one is immune from it, and God at times allows things to happen to even people we look with with utmost respect. And when things happen, so people say, "But why didn't God tell them? Why didn't they know?" God is trying to demonstrate that nobody can fully understand God, and there are some things God will do anyway, but it's just our ability to respond. Yayonda said, shall we accept good from God and not accept any evil? Job 2:10. Yeah. So firstly, I know for a fact that emergency situations will happen, unplanned circumstances will rise. Thank you so much. And Pastor Kukuli said, that's right. You can get help from a strong community. However, you can be disappointed whether you have invested in the community or not. Godly community will help pull you out of a turbulence. With faith in God, complete strangers can come to help and support you in time of their need. And yeah, thank you so much for all those contributions. And we'll go into the third one because these are all valid, contributions. A lot of times where we should be getting help is our faith communities. But most faith communities, I'm sorry to say, are not structured as faith communities. They are more of Christian businesses than faith communities. The community part is in the receiving the benefits, but when it comes to giving out rewards or supporting people, suddenly there's a disappearance of people. You just discover that there is no way you can help. And I think there are few things around that. I'll just touch on that, then we'll go to the third point quickly. Many times people place their hope on big institutions, big Christian communities, and say, because I'm part of this community, I'm part of this, I will get help. I follow this big man of God. Most times they don't even know who you are. They don't know who you are. There is a need for us to identify who is our tribe, who are those people that if there's an issue, you can pick the phone and call. That should start to get you that should get you thinking, and you might even test them. You might test some of those solutions. There was a time I was advised, because there was a time I was really passionate with a group, and a wise man called me and said, but this group, are you sure you're devoting a lot of times? I don't think you will get anything out of this group. I said, okay. He said, give them a test. Call them, say you need some help. See the way they would respond. Because a friend in a time of need is a friend indeed. And I did that. No, it wasn't a lie. I just wanted to test the strength of that community. When I called and asked for help, I didn't need to spend a lot of time even processing their response, because they came back with a lot of negativity, toxic. It was just so bad. It was like, wow, if I really needed help, these people wouldn't have been there. They would have added to the problem. And I now began to look for community. Will community let you down? Yes, they will, at times, but God will help us and give us the wisdom to find the right ones. So we'll talk about the final thing, because there's some small and insignificant rituals we need to create for ourselves as anchors in times of, chaos, to help us regain control and perspective. Because you might be thinking to yourself, what difference does small actions make when the whole world is falling apart? What is this guy saying about small actions? How can small actions be something that, if my own preparation has failed, the communities have failed? How are you now telling me small actions would be the thing that would make the difference? And that's where we need to talk about what those small actions are. So, a small action you can take is looking at doing a bit of analysis, to not like Job, who now began to think about and get worried about a lot of fears, but begin to think some people did the study. They said there are four things that can affect you as a person suddenly, that it will be grouped into four things. One, financial. It can be, there can be a financial storm. And understanding it, you need to understand, okay, what should I do around financial? It could be exploring insurances. It could be exploring, having conversations with people that, okay, um, people who have financial challenges, doing a bit of research. How do they bounce back? How do they do this? It might be just saving some money for a rainy day. It might be understanding the risk around it. So, the second thing is around health. It's understanding that, okay, health can pose some challenges. What can I do? It could be involving yourself in daily exercise, doing things that would help you, or maybe health insurance, or making sure that you have a plan around that. The third one, which is now becoming more and more popular by the day, is job insecurity, which could have an financial impact as well. What happens if your job goes overnight? Which a lot of people are finding out in different places, even in advanced countries of the world. What happens when if the job disappears overnight? We need to start thinking about that. Someone was asking me, what with AI taking over a lot of jobs? I said it will take over a lot of white collar jobs, but not blue collar jobs. Maybe there's a need when you're thinking about a business now. Think about something that is either cutting edge or something that is blue collar. And by blue collar, AI cannot become a plumber, at least not for now. It cannot become an electrician. It's about rethinking ab- and looking at, okay, if I lose this, what can I do? And having a plan around that and working that plan. It's about having your own risk assessment of what you need to do. The third or the fourth one would be relationship. And because when relationship happens, it could affect every other thing. It's about understanding what small actions do I need to take every day. So if one understands those four things, and I know this might seem easy, but it's the hardest thing. When you look at those four things and you have a plan working towards it, okay, my financial plan, if everything goes down financially, what do I do? If everything goes down health, what do I do? Or how can I prevent it? So it's about either preventing it, improving it, or doing insurance to mitigate that risk. A lot of people will say, but can't you pray about it? Yes, you can pray about it, have faith, but God would also ask you to be wise and diligent and consider what you need to do. We need to open up ourselves. Small actions might be the thing that would help you when community doesn't. When you invest in understanding what skills or what can I do if my job goes, or preparing for it when the job now disappears, you have at least a plan B or a plan C. It might not be the best, but you're thinking about it. When you have a plan of what happens on if your health goes, then suddenly you realize that, wow, it's going to be so expensive. Some of the analysis they've done shows that when health challenges strike, especially in advanced countries, the monies make people go bankrupt. When you see people selling some cheap houses, at times it's because they've had health challenges and they're unable to sustain their lifestyle. That might even help you think, okay, do I need to be saving something? Even things like old age, when one gets to an old age and you don't have like a plan for that. A lot of people sell their houses to be able to afford, care in their old age and things like that. But by looking at those four quadrants, you can begin to take a small step towards each one. I'm not saying big step, small step, each one. And I just want to finish with that, you know, I want to challenge you to begin to take a small step today that will change everything. We've talked about the four areas that those challenges could come. Whilst life storms are inevitable, the reality is that your survival isn't, which is why, the prophet had to bail out another prophet's children that were sold into bondage because the prophet that died could not pay his debts. We need to begin to think not just about the here and now, because when a storm comes, you may be unable to do the things you are doing now. And when you're unable to do those things, what do you fall back on? It's good to begin to have a plan every day, working towards it. And I'm saying this to people not because I am like the best. Me, myself, I'm learning from this. Have a plan for your financial. What happens if the chips are down? What happens if this is down? Can insurance cover it? What's the cost of insurance? Is there anything I can do? Can I invest in my relationship to make sure it doesn't go down? And if it goes down, what do I do? And once you do the risk assessment, you then know what you need to invest in order to make it work. I don't know if this has been helpful to people. The power that we have is not to lie to ourselves. It doesn't lie in avoiding challenges. It lies in how we prepare for them, how we support others. And that's one point I've not said. We've talked about strong community. Whether we like it or not, there's some people who will look at us as part of their strong community. And we need to be able to support others as well within our capacity and come back stronger. So the true revelation in challenges, it's not even just about the bouncing back. It's about using the fuel or each challenge as a fuel to move forward, to grow. It's about considering the fact that when a storm comes, I may not know the direction it takes, but if I'm able to handle these four things, then I would be able to withstand the storm. And with prayers and everything, I believe God would, help us, navigate the storm, and that it's not more than, our power. So I think we need to decide on one small action you will do. Begin to think about it. One small action. We've talked about it, the finances, the health, the relationship, and the job. Begin to think about what small action are you going to take? Not next week, not tomorrow, now. Because like we said, the third one, which people don't talk about, is the most important. It's about what are you doing towards it? What are you doing towards it? Because when you are better prepared, when you now have that ability to understand that a challenge could come, it makes you live your life with more wisdom. It makes you consider the days. It makes you spend wisely. It makes you to research, to ask questions that are needed. A lot of times we don't ask questions. We don't ask the questions we need. How many people have asked, oh, who is your financial advisor? How will they advise you on investment? How will they advise you on your pension? How will they advise you on doing things? Many times we're believing we'll keep on walking and walking and walking, but the reality is that anything could happen. A storm could come. I pray it doesn't happen to any of us in Jesus' name. But the reality is that there will be challenges, and our preparation will determine how we bounce back from it. And like I said, it's not just the bounce back, how we grow. And so please let us not wait, for the next crisis to wake us up. Let us not wait for something to happen and we now start running around seeking communities that may be unable to help. Make the decision today to begin to do something about it. And I don't want us to now start preparing for life storms and not doing what we want to do or living the life we're supposed to live. No, this is not about that. It's about the principle in the book of Nehemiah of holding a sword with one hand and building with one hand. Live your life the way you should, but start performing, small actions towards being able to withstand any storm that would come. So start small. You don't need to do a lot of things, but act now and remember that your strength isn't just how you weather the storm, it's how you also navigate the waters afterwards. A lot of times people will just think about the storm, but when the storm blows and blows and blows and leaves, there will now be some waters after that. How do you navigate those? Because if the storm has taken you out and broken the things you have, you are now unable to navigate the waters. So God will help us in Jesus' name. I just felt, let me share that with us today, um, about when life gets tough. There's nothing we can do about it, but our preparation will determine the progress we can make and how we, more importantly, bounce back from it. So I want to take a few contributions. There are a few chats already as we begin to close. Sorry, we've taken longer than necessary today, but this is a very important topic, and I hope we've all been blessed. So Pastor Nick said, getting to know your community is part of preparation. When the storms come, you will not run to them. I agree. If you don't know your community and you are banking on them, when the storm comes, you just find yourself at ground zero. Okay, I think there's a bit of a glitch. Okay, nice. So Steve said, how do you handle difficult people in a community that is structured in a way that you have to work with them? This will be a difficult question to answer very quickly, but I would say there's some people you can change. There are some people that, whilst you want to work with them, whilst you want to do the best, but because of either their attitude, their understanding, their motivation, and it will take you a lot of time to identify each of those things. So, whilst community needs to be something we build up and support, I would say our individual plans are the most important thing, because community can let you down. Community can move on. There might be some people who don't even like you in that community. The community might not be supportive when you need them, or to the extent you need them, because everyone's all humans as well. So the main thing we need to do is ensure that we're carrying out those small actions ourselves. Oh, senior mentor, yeah, you're welcome, Ma. Thank you so much for all you do and your support, and for listening in. I know you're tired with all your trips and everything, but thank you so much for listening in. Yeah, and thank you, Ma. We have Pastor Nike, which is the final word we'll take, and we'll begin to close. So she said, I don't think you can face what you didn't prepare for. I agree. A lot of people abuse Job. I would use the word abuse. A lot of messages, to be honest, I've done it as well. They say Job would say things like, the fear I had has come upon me, that because he had that fear now materialized, that fear now became real, that fear became something that now happened to him. But we can see that it wasn't his fear that led to that thing. It was because of his faith and the specific challenge he had. But one of the things that helped him get over those things, whether we like it or not, is his ability to understand that there could be storms in those different areas. And when those things now happened, he was still able to stand firm, because he had already seen the worst case and he was taking small steps. He was having prayer sessions for the children, sacrificing on their behalf, doing a lot of things on their behalf. So, having fear, as long as it's not a fear that is paralyzing us or making us now not do the will of God or not moving forward, is actually valid. He had an understanding of what could go wrong. He knew about the relationship, that what happens if my children are down, and he prepared for that. He was doing sacrifices even on their behalf, that in case they sin. What happens if my business goes down? He diversified his income stream. What happens with my health? He had money from his business, and he was quite rich, he was successful. And what happens if my job Like we said, he had diversified. He was known as the richest man. He had servants, different servants doing different things. So he diversified. He did everything he needed to do. And when the job, and that was why God was able to say, see my servants. You could see that he was organized, he was on top of things. When the temptation came and it was rough, it was hard, because he already understood the fears, it wasn't too bad for him. It was tough, it was hard, but it didn't strike him suddenly. So I want to close with that, just to encourage us that we need to walk in faith. We need to walk without fear, but we need to begin to do the things we need to do so that when the storm comes, we use them to shine. Like some people say, chest it. We use them as an avenue not to bounce back, but to thoroughly put the devil to shame, to thoroughly say, is this what you're coming up with? I'm going to even do better than this. So God will help us in Jesus' name. So thank you everyone for your time. We'll be having some special, the wonderful people in Gateway City. I've prepared some special hymnal songs for Easter. Please, let's stay tuned. By grace of God, we would be showcasing that. So sorry for the late notice. And every other thing. And also there's an opportunity we're working on for a music studio in the northern part of Nigeria. We will share some of the details with you, because one of the things we want to do as well is to create an avenue for people to worship God in a place that isn't economically advantageous, a place where we have missionaries and the power of God. So more on that later. So thank you, everyone. Have a great week. And remember, when your preparation fails, when community fail, the small steps you are taking will be the thing that make the most advantage. Take that step today. Is it your finances you need to tidy up? Is it insurances you need to look into? Is it retirement planning? Is it pensions? Take that step. Is it exploring opportunities, exploring talents, exploring things? Take that step. Make sure you're doing something small daily to prepare yourself against those 4 pillars, and God will bless you all. Have a great week, everyone. Love you all. Sorry we took so much time, but I believe we've all been blessed. And if there are any other questions or questions you feel I didn't answer, please feel free to reach out to me and we can, have a full conversation about it. So God bless you all. Thank you all. Have a great week. Bye. And you will never ever change. You are the Lord. You remain the same. It's a simple chorus. You will never ever change. You are the Lord. You remain the same. Help me sing. You will never, 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 never. You are the Lord. Let your name be glorified. Oh, you will never, 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 never. You